Hey friends, welcome back to the Proverbial Masterminds. It is Christmas Eve. What?
It is. Well, it is, but it's not.
Right. We are pre-recording this because Sherry and I have plans and we won't be live with you, but we didn't want to miss a message as
That's
we
right.
continue to walk through the book of Proverbs. So as you know, I'm Erin. This is my friend, Dr. Sherry. We are just two daughters of the King, minding the master's wisdom. We've been walking through Proverbs a verse a day for over a year, and we are now in Proverbs 15.
Yeah,
Yes.
we are. And we're reading this week, we're catching up on the last 7 verses of the week. So we read a verse a day, and that's 15:7 through 13.
Correct. Absolutely. So Sherry, do you want to read? Do you want me to read?
Sure. I'll read. And I'm reading from the New Living Translation.
Love it.
Today. The lips of the wise give good advice. The heart of a fool has none to give. The Lord detests the sacrifice of the wicked, but he delights in the prayers of the upright. The Lord detests the way of the wicked, but he loves those who pursue godliness. Whoever abandons the right path will be severely disciplined. Whoever hates correction will die. Even death and destruction hold no secrets from the Lord. How much more does he know the human heart? Mockers hate to be corrected, so they stay away from the wise. A glad heart makes a happy face. A broken heart crushes the spirit. Word.
Word. Dropping the
Word
mic.
to the word.
Word to the word.
So the one verse that, I mean, they're all good, but they all are, comparing comparing and contrasting.
Right.
This sounds like a 4th grade essay. Compare and contrast whatever. So comparing and contrasting good versus evil, or uprightness versus foolishness, or but verse 11, I was looking at even death and destruction hold no secrets from the Lord. How much more does he know the human heart? And here's what's like, it's like terrifying, right? Because where is it that says the heart is exceedingly wicked above all else?
Yes.
And God knows it.
He knows.
And he loves us. He doesn't still love us. He loves us.
Yes. Period.
Like
steadfast in the middle of all of it. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so my notes says Sheol and Abaddon. Which is what? What are the, is that like heaven and hell?
So in my commentary, it says there are stern warnings from an all-seeing God about forsaking the way of wisdom. If the very depths of the abyss, symbolized by Sheol and Abaddon as the uttermost recesses of destruction and death.
Yeah. So so Wikipedia.
Go Wikipedia.
I actually donated to Wikipedia this year. You should consider doing that, because like that's where we get a lot of our information. Yes. And I know it's not always correct, but so Abaddon is used with reference to a bottomless pit, often appearing alongside the place Sheol, meaning the realm of the dead. So like, that's it. So let's break that down a little bit, because that's
you said word to the word.
Word to the word. What? So the place of the dead and the bottomless pit, like we think like once you go there, you're forgotten, but God still sees you there.
Still sees you.
He still has, I mean, there's no secrets in that place. Like he sees everything. And I wonder, like, are there verses in the Bible about things like breaking God's heart?
I'm pretty sure.
There's no answer to that. But like, I imagine, like, if he sees everything.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, is like the fact that we could break his heart, and yet again, he loves us. like,
Oh, so in Genesis, before the great flood, the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart.
grieved.
That's
Yes.
so sad.
Yes.
Yeah, so several different places it talks about grieving God, grieving the Holy Spirit. So
Yeah.
so then the verses around this show us how we cannot grieve God, right?
Yeah.
Like have wise lips, pray with a pure heart, pray in truth,
Yes.
pursue godliness, pursue wisdom,
Yes. Like we're doing.
like we're doing.
Accept the discipline,
Yeah,
because like we're going to get it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting one too. Mockers hate to be corrected, so they stay away from the wise. It's kind of like we talked, I can't remember what chapter it was, Aaron, but we were talking about how sometimes we like to be around people who give us permission to be the way we want to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is seeking the company of fools, but God still sees it.
Yes.
Like he still sees us there, like, and he's like, don't go there. Like, so in other words, surround yourself with wise people, not with people who permit you to stay unchanged.
Right. It's that discernment and the admonishment, because they have the relationship with you, that they have the place to admonish and correct and, hold you accountable.
Right.
Really.
Right.
Yes. 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 Yes.
And the last verse is just, I love this. A glad heart makes a happy face. A broken heart crushes the spirit. We talked about this last time, a little bit about the broken heart syndrome. And
and this, in my commentary, this is interesting. So it says, this is a psychosomatic observation relating the emotions to physical and mental conditions in a way that can be substantiated by common observation. So it says the Old Testament was consciously linking emotional states and bodily changes for many centuries before modern scientific studies documented the same phenomena. Cheerfulness of disposition, whether it's a natural inheritance or result of personal discipline, is like being at a continuous feast. It promotes and sustains positive feelings within the individual, which are shared by others in their company. So the entire atmosphere is one of enjoyment, rather than depression or sorrow. And this situation, this feeling of this joy, is contrasted with the condition of the afflictive, whatever the nature or cause of their unfortunate state. Yes.
That's good. Well, and that, again, we've talked about this before, but people who have a hopeful, glad, grateful outlook on their circumstances.
Yes, regardless.
They overcome them. They're more likely to overcome them than those who, or have a broken spirit, who are crushed. It's like this pandemic right now. Like there are literally people whose spirits are crushed.
Yes.
And this isn't, I think this is instructing us, like even in this, we can choose to be glad.
We can choose. Yes. Someone was posting the other day about a house transaction, that she was selling a house and they were building a house, and just how like she had given all of this advance notice of like to her lender and the title company and all of this, like, we have to do, these are the dates. Like we have to be able to do this. We have to be able to do this so we can take possession of the house before January 3rd, because the builder shuts down. I don't know, all the things. But she was like, and yet in this, here's where I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Like, and yet, while I'm questioning, why am I paying you title people when you couldn't even do what your job was, right? And yet, here's where we find the joy in this. And I think that it takes a level of wisdom, like we're talking about, and most certainly a level of trust to be able to turn those situations and go, okay, hold on. I know there are things here that I can't see.
Yeah.
God sees all.
That's right.
He already knows how he will redeem this situation. where do I find this cheerful disposition?
Right.
Yeah. In the middle of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that that has to come with practice. You know, we talked about this before about like kind of being a good neighbor or whatever, like, but that starts with our circle.
It does.
It's like where we live, right? And most of the time our circle is our family. So
Yeah.
people in that reside in the same place that, you know, we reside in. But I often think about like how easy it is to tell somebody else, like give somebody else encouragement, tell somebody else to be glad, tell somebody else that this is an opportunity for you to be grateful. But if we aren't practicing that for ourselves in our, right, in our
And
home,
modeling that,
then it's not going to ring true.
No.
Number one. And then it's kind of like we make it where it's possible for others, but not for us.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that this is reminding us that this is true for all of us. And all of us can choose that.
Yes. And it is a daily choice, just like the choice to
Yeah.
pursue wisdom is a daily choice.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing I was reading, because, you know, I like to do our different translations.
Yes.
And there are a few things that stood out to me in the Passion Translation, which I just love kind of, you know, some of the things, the way that it puts things. So in verse 12, it says, the know-it-all never esteems the one who tries to correct him.
Right.
He refuses to seek good advice from the wise. And this know-it-all concept reminds me of two things. In a job that I had many years ago, we had this concept of the one-upper, like the one who, like, no matter what you did, they did it more, or they did something, right? So they were always one-upping you. And it just, you know, was kind of ridiculous. But then there was also a guy who was, his nickname was Ike. Which stood for I know everything. And like, I don't think that he did it out of like, I don't even know if he realized that he did it, but other than he just had wisdom overflow, not even wisdom. He had information, which isn't always wisdom, overflowing in such a way that he just had to say it out loud. It just reminds me of this, that the know-it-all never esteems the one who tries to correct him, because
that's right.
He knows it all. And so therefore, how could he even acknowledge that God really knows it all?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a good reminder for us too. Like, remember we talked about last week, that kind of brings us back to the Lord is watching everywhere. Verse 3.
Yes.
Chapter 15. The Lord is watching everywhere, keeping his eye on both the evil and the good. The verse 11, how much more does he know the human heart? I think what's for me, what's so penetrating about that is that, like, just when it comes to it's one of the truths that allows me to not worry about or not try to understand why other people are the way they are. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
because there's plenty of stuff right here. There's plenty of stuff for me, right? Like, I know as in my relationship with the Lord, as he reveals stuff about ourselves to us, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I have stuff that I keep working on and keep peeling back the layers, and he shows me, you know, parts of me, but that's what he does. He restores, and he restores me. And so I just can't, I have zero access. God has all the access to why somebody else does what they do, thinks what they think, believes what they believe. Like, God sees all of that. And that's up to him to get in there and restore, right? Like, not for me. And so I think when we feel like there's injustices, when we feel like people are making wrong decisions, when we feel like, you know, if only other people would do this, then everything would be better. I think that this is admonition for us to remember that the Lord is watching everywhere.
All of it.
And the Lord is in control of all of that, and let him do the work.
And not in a vengeful way, because I think that we could take this
verse. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
We could, in our humanness, say, well, the Lord knows, and he'll take care of that. right?
Right.
And I feel like when we do that, because we all do,
We all do that.
he's like, you're so not quite getting it.
No, right. God sees you.
And God's like, and I see you too.
Right.
Right?
Well, and it's the I think the like one of the things that I teach my coaching clients all the time is that a lot of our problematic thoughts come from our delusion that we know somebody else's motivation.
Exactly.
And we don't.
We never do.
We don't have God has access to
God
that.
has. We do not.
But we don't. But
Yes.
but how often do we operate? Do we make choices in the way we behave, the things we do, the way we think, the way we feel, based on what we think somebody else is thinking, you
100.
know? And so it's really like, okay, wait, the truth is I have zero clue what they're thinking. So why am I even pouring my energy into that?
Right. Yeah.
So
Yes. Yeah. That is so good.
That's good. That's all I got, my friend.
Me too. So as you watch this on Christmas Eve, and sometimes we're walking into like situations at the holidays that they're just are people we have challenges being around, or maybe we're the person that's challenging for people to be around. Let us remember to love the way Jesus loves.
Yes.
And see people through his eyes.
Yes.
Not ours, because ours are so clouded.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I got. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
And
we'll see you on New Year's Eve.
Yes, we will be. We'll be back here 2:00 next Friday. We can't wait to see you. And we'll be reading Proverbs 14 verses 14 through 20. So read along with us in Proverbs 15 verses 14 through 20. All right, everybody. See you next week.
All right. Bye.